Good evening, TheoTrade. This is Corey Rosenblum, and you're watching the Theo Nightly video for an earnings explosion, an earnings central TheoTrade update here on the 30th of July, 2020. Do not adjust your screen. Do not adjust your monitor. This is the Nasdaq launching off to new highs, pushing above. This, what we're looking at here is the black lines, the darker levels, are the intraday trade levels and markings. What you're seeing here in the gray is what we're getting on the explosion, the earnings explosion, in our main tech names. Not all, but the main ones. We'll go through each of those in a moment. But this is the overnight, at least a little bit of an hour after the market close. You'll know more than I know in terms of when you see the video and beyond of the explosion here in the Nasdaq index. It's pushing up. This is the intraday low to high, and that's going to close off at about the 1070 level. And we're bursting well above that. Did you know the Nasdaq is not that far from 1100 again, or 11,000? Strange to say that, 11,000 in the Nasdaq, but that's just the tech sector. Similarly, you'll find the XLK. XLK is your, I have to do that here. Here's how to do that. If you're ever curious about how to see equities or futures or different things, we'll take the volume off on the overnight session. You can just do the extended hours and do the highlight. So there, right, you might not trade the Nasdaq, but you might trade or look at or position into the XLK or some of these leading stocks. So this is the intraday chart. This is what we're going to wake up to on Friday morning. Don's going to have this covered in the morning session. There are butterfly trades out there. There are swing trades out there and earnings-based plays out there. But if you're more like me that don't put trades on directly before earnings, there are intraday positions and intraday reversals or targets to play for, especially with respect to these earnings-based expected moves. So we'll just go through that in terms of price levels. But would not be doing my responsibility to you if I didn't show you the launch to new highs for the tech sector, XLK, and our trade flash tab. It's not everything bullish. Google's going to turn down, Alphabet there. There's Apple up 3.5%, Shake Shack, and then all the way down you can see over 200 stocks reported earnings to this morning or after the close. Amazon's up 5%. What else do we have? Be my guest and look at some of the other names in that. That's the bigger picture there. We'll pull back to an hourly chart, and here's the XLK. Not all-time highs, nor all-time highs being made at the moment in the Nasdaq. Not that far away. There is your 11,000 print, and this is occurring after market close. Let's take, well, actually, before we start showing you the expected moves, let's just kind of take a quick look at our tech names. Here is Apple. The close is going to be roughly here, 385. We're playing up 405. We'll take a look at Google. That's about the only one. There's a lot of other stocks, but in terms of what I'm looking at with you here, that is not ripping to the upside. It may counterbalance a little bit, but these are big market cap names. As Don said, what's a few $1 trillion here and there amongst friends? That's what's happening in the after-hour session. It'll play into Friday. So GDP, probably won't even have time to talk about the GDP in today's video, but I'm not sure that was important whatsoever to the market. Tech names, tech earnings, and after-hours movement, that's probably a much better driver of the Nasdaq, the S&P, and everything else in between. So Google is, at this point, not doing a stellar move. May change. And Amazon, again, you're not seeing things at all-time, well, we'll see Facebook in a minute, but Amazon's not there at all-time highs, but is getting a boost to the upside. 5.5% in the after hours. This may not look like a lot in the way I have the chart framed, but we closed off at this roughly just under 3,100. And the peak of it is 3,250 per share. Now here's the one that's going to interest us. Scratch your head all you want with this one. I'm not here to talk fundamentals, just talking price levels and probabilities. But I completely understand if your questions are, how is this possible in the recession and all the advertisers fleeing and bailing and protesting and all that sort of stuff when it comes to revenue? I'm not sure it matters. Really don't. Just sort of scratch your head on this and go forward with your trades. Facebook did push to a new all-time high. Going back to the hourly chart, 4-hourly chart, you can see how that occurred in the most recent after hours market. So that's your after hours play. Okay, so those are big picture charts. These are the expected move charts. This is from Don, and we're looking first at Apple. The way you calculate these, actually just for a quick reference, the video is short, but to get these expected moves, we can take a look at the near-term expiration. We'll close these up a little bit and take a look at Apple. So in terms of the profile, or in terms of these option statistics, it's a $14 up or down move. And that also plays into straddle pricing. So where we close is what the indicator predetermines. It's actually straddles. The most recent, the white, is the next month, and the one beyond that is kind of the blue. So all that being said, the expected move takes us to about 411, and you can see that that's not that far away. In terms of expected move, if you're playing butterflies or any other type of strategy, this is the logic, right? You can't predict the future. All we can do is play the expected move and the mathematical equation that plays into it, butterflies, or as Don and I would do on the intraday position, if Apple is up into 411, or roughly that level, 15 up, 15 down from the close, you might want to play fade or reversal trades against the expected move, or maybe some movement toward it. But do keep these levels in mind. And that is roughly about 410, 410.12, they're about. So Apple is just a little bit shy of that as we speak. That will certainly change. And taking a look at Amazon, that's another bullish outcome. As we load the indicator here, we can see Amazon playing up. There it is. Near-term volatility, near-term play. I think it was about a 200 some odd expected move. And that is taking us to 3321, 3324, these particular levels. Could have gone to the downside. No, it's not happening. But when you talk about this expected move for earnings, that's what Don walks us through. And there are classes in the TheoTrade archive that gives us more information. So that is playing down just a little bit shy, possibly, of that expected move type of play. We'll just saw Facebook, and it is a new all-time high. But look at this one. So the expected move here via the straddle pricing, you can look inside the option statistics, but via the straddles, it's about 254. Hit it. Nailed it. Touched it. Coming away from it. I know. This is the after hours market. Low volume, high volatility. Let the dust settle. If you are not in a butterfly or some type of option spread before the earnings, maybe play into this the next session, which is Friday. And that could be a departure play or sell type of strategy on the intraday basis against 254. We will see if that does play out, but it is the expected move for earnings. And despite all the volatility in Facebook and the news and everything else, that hit it, tagged it, and is now moving away from it. Butterflies play off of this logic, playing from something to either, and you pick one, bullish or bearish on Facebook. The butterflies will help you with that. Again, the only thing really moving, even if you want to call it that, it's still moving, right? This is still a dynamic market during the video. But the expected move or the straddle pricing for Google, Alphabet, I still refuse to call that Google or call it Alphabet. It's Google to me, always has been since about 2005 or so. Anyway, it's 1638, 1640, and that's a little bit shy as of right now. And at the moment, it remains a little bit unchanged. That will certainly change after the video is published and in the evening and, of course, into Friday's session. So Google has lots of volatility. If you ever are curious, again, outside the time limits of this video, you can pull up live news on each of these stocks and talk about their revenue. You can look at some of the commentary behind it, some of the news reports, plenty to read. Again, outside the purview of just this quick market update. But you can view this and look exactly at, and also, don't forget this before we go. Apple has okayed or approved a 4-to-1 stock split. That may be something to read overnight tonight. And these things will be coming in. Revenue easily outpaces street estimates, et cetera. So as we go through, as we look through the evening, setting up Friday sessions, whether you're positioned, whether you're sweating a position, which, right, with options, it can come back. Don't sweat too much. Or looking to play an intraday position, or letting the earnings get behind us, and then we can play some moves into next week. Whatever your strategy, plenty of things to watch, and that does include the Market Watch tab. You can see which stocks report earnings here in the calendar function, and under the Analyze tab, something very interesting, you can look at past earnings, a little bit too late because these are for spreads and things before the earnings, how the stock performed, how the option volatility, the at-the-money straddle, the Wall Street estimate, and the actual earnings. Apple's beat earnings recently, certainly beat today, and how that plays into the next few sessions. So that's on the Analyze tab here in thinkorswim, earnings and the name of the stock. Otherwise, take a look at the news reports, news tab, or the flash, trade flash, similar. You can pull up any number of stocks you would like and take a look at exactly what those reports are. As always, be careful and safe, especially in this volatile week. It certainly is, has been, and continues to be a volatile week. This is Corey Rosen with Theo Video for July 30th, 2020.